Hey, what's going on, Jeromes? Happy Friday. I made it to the end of the week. Thank you for tuning in for yet another live stream here on the YouTube channel, 11 a.m. Central Time, every single friggin' day. That's how we like to roll. Now, the NFL draft is less than a week away. Like this time next week, we will know how the Vikings have botched up the 22 and 25 overall pick. Did they trade up? Did they trade out? Who did they pick? There you go. We just released a new video of what would be our perfect day one, day two for the Vikings, and also we threw in pick 132 just because we could. Let us know what you think of that. Good times there. And again, thanks to the Jeromes for watching on the live stream. We got a nice little core of a couple hundred regulars that just tune in, and that's really awesome. And yeah, if we're getting through quarantine, if we're doing that up, or if you're at work and you're just watching us, I mean, mazel tov, respect. Also, if you're checking us out on demand, thank you very much for doing that. If you want to support the work, hit that little join box down below. Find out how you become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Yeah, just ship that stimulus check in on our Venmo too, because I mean, yeah, why not at this point? Support independent work. That's how we go. So I'm excited this a draft in a week. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Of all the theoretical stuff, every single player is Schrodinger's pick, where it's like, oh, this guy could be really good, or he could just be absolute trash, garbage, whatnot. But we got some Q&A. We'll run through a mock draft or two. We'll give a couple of shout outs here a little bit later on in the stream. So let's buckle up and let's go. First up is crab cakes and football. Hey, crab cake. So tangent, already tangenting off. So the movie Moana, which is a great Disney Pixar movie. It's really phenomenal. So there's a scene where the dude from Flight of the Conchords, the New Zealand dude, I forget his name, but he plays the crab, and he does his little shiny song, that whole thing. And then The Rock comes in and is gonna beat some crab ass, gonna make some crab bisque, and he's like, "Hey, crab cake." So when my daughter was like 1.5, somewhere in there, and she's just learning words, and it's just really fun. Couldn't string together a sentence, but she would pick up on these phrases and just like repeat them over and over because it was so fun, right? So after watching that movie, she picked up the "Hey, crab cake." So just like if we were driving or just hanging out, all of a sudden it almost like Tourette's, it would just come out, "Hey, crab cake." It's funny to me. Anyways, crab cakes and football. Let's say there's some truth to the OBJ news. If Rick in Cleveland calls you up and asks for number 25 and Adam Thielen, but you get OBJ and Jarvis Landry, do you take that? No, absolutely not. So basically, you're asking, would you want to swap out two big contracts for two malcontents who already been traded off the original teams? Because their OG teams couldn't handle them with the Giants with OBJ and Jarvis Landry with the Dolphins respectively. Or you have the Minnesota Miracle Man, the guy who's just an absolute mainstay, plus a peak top 10 receiver, and also Jalen Reagor or Denzel Mims or T. Higgins or Laviska Shenault or Brandon Ayuk at 25 on the rookie deal. No. Screw that noise right in the face. No, F that. JD Mack. What are your thoughts on Nick Fitzgerald? He reminds me a lot of one Kyle Jerome, Ezekiel Slater. Now, so Nick Fitzgerald, wasn't he the quarterback from Mississippi State last year in the draft where I think the Vikings, I think he was a top 30 visit, if I remember right, but I did like him in terms of he was like a very mobile college quarterback. He had a strong arm, and basically they just bashed him in as like a goal line dude. I was interested by him, especially since the Saints had done like so many great things with Taysom Hill, the corpse of him. But I think he went to the Bucks. Pretty sure. Let's check that out. All right, so Nick Fitzgerald, NFL. There we go. Yeah, he's with the Bucks. All right, no. Sorry, he went to the XFL as part of the St. Louis Battlehawks. I guess that makes a lot of sense. Did he do anything in the XFL? Nah, it doesn't look like it. Next up is the Blair Walsh Project. Oh, so he's a free agent now? The Blair Walsh Project. Should we sign Drake Kirkpatrick and Darqueze Dennard? I feel like it would make sense because Zimmer knows him and a lot of Dennard was originally signed up with Jacksonville. Then they rescinded his deal. So he could be available. It's probably going to be in like a $3 to $4 million range. I think Dre probably gets around league minimum, veteran minimum in there. So I think, after the draft, just see what is there. I mean, if there's not a spot, there's not a spot. But I'm not sure about signing up both of them, but if there's one of them, sure, why not? We got Janaika Bingham, new monthly Jerome. Welcome. Shout out. Heart you guys. The Blair Walsh Project. Oh, that I already read that one. Long pole skull. Your honest opinion, please. Is Matt Kalil and Sharif Floyd never got hurt? Are they still in purple? Myself, I firmly believe they had tools and talent to anchor the respective lines for years, but their bodies just didn't have the body didn't have durability. Now, here's the thing about Matt Kalil is his rookie year was pretty good. Actually, can we look up Matt Kalil's PFF stats? Like his rookie year 2012 was pretty good. It was really solid. Where that entire 2012 draft. 2012 NFL draft. Something that you do have to worry about is like consensus, surefire. Like, is there ever really such a thing as a safe pick? No. But I mean, that year, Matt Kalil was seen as a generational, Anthony Munoz, Orlando Pace-esque franchise left tackle. Set and forget it. So I don't fault the Vikings at all, especially coming off of 3-13, where I think Charlie Johnson was your, was your left tackle. Pressures. Yeah, so Matt Kalil, his rookie year 2012, did have his highest PFF grade at 78.6. Gave up 27 pressures, which was a career low in terms of when he was a full-time starter. Only gave up 3 sacks. But after that, I mean, his second year was pretty decent. But 2014, 2015 is when things start going downhill. 2016 was absolute rock bottom in the short time period. But about 2014, shocker, when Teddy came in, Matt Kalil all of a sudden went to pot. So 2014 gave up a career high 12 sacks, 55 pressures. So that's when Matt Kalil started getting kaput. But it really was Kalil's injury, where he had to work through a number of injuries where he was almost tough to a fault, where he didn't come off the field, where he was obviously a clear liability for the Vikes. Also, Russell Mullins, brand new monthly Jerome. Heart you, thanks for coming along. So if Matt Kalil had stayed perfectly healthy and then didn't lose the confidence, where, man, he was losing confidence, as well as the fans piling on him, that certainly hurt his psyche. He was sort of, I mean, we're all human, right? So if like the entire fan base just absolutely despises you, like every time that you're on the field, I mean, that will wear on a young man, or just anyone in general. So that's when it culminated with the hat flipping gate, where, gosh, what was it? I gotta bring that up. Matt Kalil hat gate, because I remember that. Hat gate. All right, so Vikings, Matt Kalil knocked hat off a heckler's head, apologized. So there's this dude who just outside of TCF Bank Stadium, was just talking mad junk to Matt Kalil. Matt Kalil fan hat. Because, I mean, I would like to play the video, except that would knock us off a live stream. But okay. All right, so some jabroni fan was just talking junk, the usual, fan junk, and then Kalil just like knocked his hat off, and then like the local media like put this jabroni on air, and then it turns out like he's just a massive toolbox too, but it's like whatever. But yeah, if he stayed healthy, I think he might still be the left tackle of the Vikings. Plus, Sharif Floyd, I mean. Sharif Floyd did have health injuries, but his peak was just so damn elite. And then, of course, it was just like a botched surgery at the end. Him and Zimmer obviously didn't see eye to eye. Zimmer sort of... That's the one thing that really bugs me about Zimmer, where he does call out injured players. Well, it's like, well, there's a difference between injured and hurt, sure. But, I mean, dudes who sacrifice their body for the glory of you and your coached football team, and sometimes the body gives out. And then you just making aggressive or passive-aggressive comments, that doesn't help things. So the 2012 draft, man. So the 2012 draft, it's rough. Like, who is the best remaining player from this draft? It's probably Stephon Gilmore at 10. It's pretty easy. So Luck is retired. Luke Kuechly is retired. RG3 was a bust. Trent Richardson was a multi-bust, even though the Colts traded a first-round pick for him. Justin Blackmon has been suspended since forever, but he's still technically part of the Jaguars. Mo Claiborne has bounced around the league. Been a big disappointment. Mark Barron has been like a linebacker for the Rams, just sort of bouncing all over the place too. Whatever. So, I mean, the 2012 draft was a disaster. And I remember the Vikings were originally at 3. They went 3-13 first year under Leslie Frazier. And then they convinced the Browns to trade up to 4 because, like, hey, there is so much demand for there's so much demand for the number 3 pick, so you better come up and get Trent Richardson. So the Cleveland gave up a 4, a 5, and a 7. So let's check out those picks. So 118. All right, so the Vikings got Jarius Wright. Oh, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. 5, Robert Blanton. And then a 7 that year. So, Rick always likes to accumulate his picks. So by moving down one spot and a guy that you weren't going to draft anyway because of Adrian, and then you're able just to get and then the Vikings flipped that pick to Tennessee. There you go. But yeah, the entire 2012 draft was just absolute train wreck disaster. And also, it wasn't a great tackle class. Like, it was extremely bereft of talent. How are we going to look this up now? There you go. All right, so Matt Kalil was the only generational left tackle in this draft. Riley Reef was the second tackle off the board at 23. Funny how that sort of worked out, came full circle. Mitchell Schwartz, Mitchell Schwartz pretty damn legit with the Chiefs now. Cordy Glenn, no. Jonathan Martin, that one didn't work out for reasons. Mike Adams, no. Donald Stevenson was okay for a hot second, maybe not so much anymore. Lamar Holmes, no. Let's see what else there. Bobby Massey, Brandon Mosley, Zebby Sanders, Dennis Kelly. I remember Dennis Kelly, but not so much. Tom Compton, Jason Slowey, no. Matt McCants, no. Nate Potter, no. Just kidding. Marcel Jones, no. Andrew Datko, no. Was he Florida State? Florida State, yeah. Josh Gordon, supplemental pick that year. Mike Remmers. So the Vikings have just channeled through this entire trash tackle class. So Remmers, Reef, Tom Compton, and Matt Kalil. Just great. Tom Barclay. Austin Passer was in camp with the Vikings as a UDFA, and then he had a decent run with the Jaguars and the Falcons. It doesn't matter. But, man, that was rough. There you go. Next one. Husgamer 15. How can we boo Roger Goodell when he's in his basement? Yeah, it's going to be like a very posh basement too, I'm guessing. Probably has a $24,000 refrigerator. Brian Yaz, better finishing move, the people's elbow or Rakishi's ass smash? I'd say the people's elbow. You really can't go wrong. It is part of the people. There you go. Thomas Hayes. Platinum Jerome. Thomas, you're the man. Big shout out there. Next up is Maddox Maloney. Any possible way we go after Joe Thuney? If we do, what assets do we have to give up? Well, Thuney's sort of been forgotten since he signed his franchise tag. So it's $15 million. So I think it would have to be multiple moving parts where the Patriots do need draft picks. They don't have a second rounder. Actually, what do they have? Plus, they are very limited on cap space. So if they could flip Thuney for a gang full of picks, that would make a lot of sense as the Patriots, go through this mini rebuild. So they have 23. Then they don't have a second. What happened to their second rounder? Oh yeah, they traded for Mo Sanu, but they have 87. Then a couple of comp picks because of Trey Flowers and whatnot. So if they're would you trade 58 for Joe Thuney? Maybe. Or would you rather be in the 89 and 105 business? Would you rather give up 89, 105 or 58? It's pretty close. But I think that's about what he would command. It's a similar spot to Anthony Harris. But, say if the Vikings brick out on some of the better interior offensive linemen this year, it certainly would be something to think about. Brian Yaz, better celebration, Jared Allen's rodeo or Dante's roll? The Dante roll was a lot of fun because I was younger, so as a kid, plus kids like offense more, so it was Dante 70-yard dart to Randy Moss, and then Dante. There you go. But Jared Allen's rodeo was a lot of fun too. Plus, Then the NFL started changing the rules, like, oh, you can't go to a knee when celebrating a sack, so we had to like hover around. So it's like squatty potty on the sack, which is kind of funny. Travis Larson, what's your take on Aloy Gilman out of Notre Dame? He could be a late round steal. Like day 3-ish adjacent. Like I'm sort of. We know that Rick does like him some Notre Dame players, but I'm sort of down on Gilman, like Pride Jr. too. I'm just sort of obviously he's fast, but like his game, I do worry about it. Like say, Pride Jr. is the first cornerback off the board for the Vikings. Abs Abdi, would you trade for Myles Garrett? Be creative if you're interested. I mean, yeah, but also. All right, so would Cleveland trade Myles Garrett for the 2 1s? I don't think they would. I don't like. Ask yourself, like, what would the Vikings trade Danielle Hunter for? Probably take 3 1s. Like, if the Dolphins came up to you and was like, all right, we'll give you 5, 18, and then wherever else they pick in the first for Danielle Hunter. I mean, you'd have to think about it. So 26. You have to think about it, but it's tough. Aaron Hunt, Brandon Monthly, Jerome as well. A shout out to a bunch of you guys signing up. Again, if you want to be cool like Janayaka, Russell, Thomas, and Aaron, hit that join box, become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Support independent work. There you go. Next up is Skull Vikings 33. If you're Rick Spielman and wanted to trade up, how much would you give up and for what position? All right, so trading up. Actually, let's bring up the chart. So we've talked about scenarios where we would trade up. We broke down, or we took a look at the CBS mock from yesterday that had the Vikings trading up to get Jedrick Wills. And they traded up to 13 San Francisco. And they gave up, was it 22.58 and some change? Yeah, 22.58 and then 219, I believe it was. So that has a trade value of 1,100. Got up there, so it is relatively close matching that up. But I think if Andrew Thomas fell, that'd be interesting. Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs, like one of the big tackles fall. If Kinlaw started slipping to like the late teens, maybe. If CJ Henderson made it past the gauntlet here, maybe. Since such a deep and great wide receiver class, I mean, there is obvious tiers: Ruggs, Judy, and Lamb. The thoughts of trading up for one of them, it's sort of cooled off for me, especially given the depth of the day 2, early day 3 wide receivers. But if one of them falls past Denver here, because I think there's going to be just a gauntlet where a lot of wide receivers could go. I mean, the Jets, the Raiders, the Niners, and the Broncos at 15. So if one of them get to around this area, you'd really have to think about it in terms of like Ruggs, Judy, or Lamb got to that spot. All right, so next up is reshift here. Who do you think is the most underrated player in Vikings history? Antoine Winfield is up there. Joseph Jamarillo. Antoine Winfield is up there. And Kevin Williams is up there. Jim Marshall is like the OG, overlooked and underappreciated Viking. Husgamer 15. If the Vikings get Trent Williams, would you double down quarterbacks the first round? Say trade Reef and a third, and go get wide receiver day 2. So trade for Trent Williams. So your left tackle need is off the table for now. Would you double back a cornerback? So would you get like Fulton and Gladney, Fulton and Jalen Johnson, Fulton, AJ Terrell? Maybe, because this is a nice cornerback class, but it is relatively top heavy. 2 first rounders. Qualified maybe. Eric Normal. Best past Vikings fullback: Kleinsasser, Felton, or Asiata. Well, Asiata wasn't a fullback. He was just slow, so I guess he gets counted as a fullback. Felton was pretty legit. Like one of the big reasons why Adrian had phenomenal years was Jerome Felton just leading the way. Kleinsasser was legit. CJ Ham is certainly up there too. I'm sure there's some fullback from actually wasn't Bill Brown a fullback technically? I'm sure there's some fullbacks from back in the day or ones leading the way for like Chuck Foreman that we're forgetting about. But yeah, Kleinsasser is a full-on like local legend. CJ Ham is certainly getting up there as well. For now, I would say Kleinsasser. JD Mack. Would you rather Who'd you rather have under center? A healthy Sam Bradford, guaranteed to stay healthy for the duration of his contract, or Kirk Cousins, also guaranteed to stay healthy? I might go Bradford. I mean, Bradford, like the biggest bugaboo of his career was health. Like always, either the ACL or the shoulder or concussion or whatever the hell he had. But you just saw like there was moments of sheer brilliance, like that 2017 Week 1 Monday night game against the Saints, or Sunday night game, one of the two. Bradford was just throwing dimes. Like Bradford routinely made throws that made you go, wow. Where Cousins has them once in a while. I mean, Bradford, there's a reason why Bradford was the number 1 overall pick, even after he had an injured final season at Oklahoma. But yeah, Sam Bradford is certainly up there in the what if they stayed healthy club, where he just had it. Yeah, Abza Abdi. Last year, Rick's wife threatened him to take an O-line rookie, which sounded hilarious. Do you think she'll have an influence on this year's draft? Nope. Abza Abdi, Hercules. I'm hopeful in year 3, but also year 2 was supposed to be it. Not so much. Ryan Sullivan, Culver's is goated. That is all. That's a tweet. I agree. Like one of the few things that Wisconsin actually gets right. I mean, Culver's is pretty damn legit, just in terms of like fast casual. Burgers are great. The custard is really good. The cheese curds are underrated, as well as but like the Culver's like crispy chicken sandwich, phenomenal. Yeah, or like their fish and chips, which at a fast casual place you're not gonna get cod. I think it's haddock, or maybe pollock, one of the two. Actually, is it cod? Let's look that up. Actually, it is cod. Never mind. I take that back. So there you go. I completely take that back. So that's why it's great. Yeah, because usually you don't get cod at some of the fish places. All right, next up is Ethan Griffith. You can trade up for one of the following: Thomas, Akuda, Jerry Jeudy. Pick one. I'm going O-line every time. I'm picking Andrew Thomas. Yeah, there is. We talked about for wide receivers. I'm less inclined to trade up this year because of the depth, even though Jeudy is my wide receiver 1. Akuda is phenomenal, except I think you may have to go up higher than potentially getting Andrew Thomas, who, I mean, Thomas may end up being the 4th tackle off the board, which would just be a travesty. Absolute miscarriage of justice around here. Let us know where you're watching from. I'll give a couple shout outs here in a hot sec. Carol Franson. After doing a million mocks myself and watching thousands, I'm only happy if we get offensive tackle on Cesar Ruiz in round 1, and then getting Tyler Johnson in the 3rd and cornerback in the 2nd. Am I wrong? All right, so tackle. So we're talking Josh Jones, Ezra Cleveland-ish area, maybe Austin Jackson, Cesar Ruiz in round 1. Where honestly, if they went that route, I wouldn't be that upset. Where offensive line has been an issue with the Vikings since forever. So if they're just like, screw it, we'll get a cornerback later. So 2nd round cornerback, you're looking at Cameron Dantzler, Bryce Hall, maybe like an AJ Terrell Falls, but probably not at this point. Maybe look at like Noah Igbenegene. Maybe you overdraft Amik Robertson. Maybe you go Tony Pride Jr. Or maybe just say screw it and take Trevon Diggs. But yeah, you're gonna work it out. You're playing here. Tyler Johnson the 3rd. I mean, overall, I wouldn't be that upset about it. I really wouldn't. Because I really do like Cesar Ruiz as an interior prospect too. Brett Vuzelas, and do you think the receivers we draft will start or not? I think it'll be a mix. Like if it's not, well, first round guys, say if it's Higgins or Mims or Chenault or Ayuk or Jalen Reagor, I think they could come in day 1, step outside. Maybe not Chenault. But I don't sleep on BC Johnson year 2. I mean, also Tajay Sharp came here for a reason. He saw a great opportunity. And then Thielen is obviously going to be the wide receiver 1 now. Next up is Bryce Wall Neo. Do you ever see Harrison Smith getting traded? I've seen a couple posts about shipping him off. Personally, do you think we would ever do that, even as he gets older? What are your thoughts? Maybe. Although like we said earlier, I think Harrison could be a candidate to just retire early, where obviously he loves the game, but he's a guy who's into a lot of other off-the-field pursuits. It never seems like it's been about every single nickel with him. So, like, maybe. I mean, if they weren't going to trade Harrison Smith, now would be the time to do it. He's on a very team-friendly deal the last couple of years. Probably get peak value for him. but that'd be tough. I don't see them trading Harrison Smith as long as Zimmer's here. Say that. Cyberbully123. With the season unsure when it will start, players had to get real jobs. What could you see them doing? Kirk, Kendricks, Dalvin, etc. Kirk like a door-to-door Bible salesman, or like a Jehovah's Witness, or could he work Pizza Ranch? Maybe not. Actually, Kirk would be the door-to-door, like something door-to-door, something telemarketer. Yeah, he'd be that. Kendricks, I could see getting into business. This isn't like a shot at his brother, Michael Kendricks. This is more like Kendricks always struck me as like a quiet, very cerebral, very, very thoughtful dude. So getting into some sort of nonprofit sector, maybe he gets into like digging wells in the Congo for the pygmies, a la Justin Wren. Fight for the Forgotten, by the way. Something like that, or some sort of like business that benefits humanity, as opposed to just filling a need. Let's see what else here. Brian O'Neill would go play in like the Australian Basketball League if they're open. Drew Samia would be the bouncer from hell. Riley Reef would probably go farm somewhere. Yeah. Thielen would just go be Detroit Lakes Travel Bureau, Chamber of Commerce representative. There you go. I'd have to think about that one a little bit more. A couple shout-outs. So we got Drew Nyberg watching from Pullman, Washington. Shout out to Washington. Colin Ireland from Orlando, Florida. There you go. There you go. Thank you guys for watching us, making this part of your day there. Next up is Cyberbully123. I already read that one. With running back short time span in the NFL, do you see more college players switching from running back to other positions in the future, like Jalen Hurd switching to receiver? Could see it for sure, but also it would have to trickle down and change throughout high school, throughout Pee Wee football, because in high school, in youth football, in Pee Wee football, it really does get dumbed down. It does get boiled down to, hey, who is your best athlete? Put him at running back. You just hand him the ball, because passing games in general, especially youth league, even though it is coming along, isn't where you want it to be, maturity wise. But you do see high school, especially in the 7-on-7 drills, you see some ridiculous passing numbers out there. So maybe some of the better athletes are moving to quarterback, are moving to wide receiver, are frankly just going to the defensive side of the ball, playing some edge rusher, that whole thing. So I think maybe down the line could see it, but as of right now, still no. Mr. Popo, since you're all Minnesota and our similarities end with the Vikings, what do you remember about the 2002 Major League Baseball playoffs? Go Angels, Skull from Southern California. Let's see. 2002 MLB playoffs. So I'm guessing the Twins lost to the Angels that year, where there's a period so I was super in on baseball early on, and then just sort of faded out. But so the Twins got to the ALCS. Was that the Moneyball year? Because I remember like the entire Moneyball season. That was the whole the Oakland A's were the cat's ass. And it was like, oh, Moneyball. Oh, what about the movie? Except then they're like, oh, because they got. Was it? Oh, yeah, it was, because they got Jeremy Giambi to replace the other one, and they had David Justice, the corpse of David Justice there. And yeah, like, oh, they got Scott Hattenberg to play first base. Oh, look at that. Except you forgot, you had great pitching. You had Tim Hudson. You had blah, blah, blah. You had Mark Mulder at the peak. So, you had Barry frickin' Zito before he just completely imploded, right? So yeah, they just completely ignore that. I like how they barely even made the movie, where it's just like, Ron Washington was the bench coach. It's kind of funny to me. All right, so yeah, the Twins beat the Oakland A's. The Angels beat the Twins in ALCS. Whatever. Let's see who was on that roster. Garrett Anderson. Yeah, I remember Garrett Anderson from back in the day. Tim Salmon. See what else here. Kennedy. Say that makes sense. Yeah. Oh, John Lackey. Oh yeah, that's back when John Lackey was a thing. Yeah, it was a pretty legit team. Oh, Aaron Seeley. Yeah, there you go. All right, so who's manager? Oh, Mike Sosha. Duh. Yeah, found it. Congrats, Mazel Tov. I didn't have strong feelings about it either way because see, that was my junior year of high school. Yeah. Spencer Vox. What would you like to see a Vikings revamp their jerseys? Well, I don't like some of the more modernist it looks. Jerseys. Where it's like I feel like it gets played out like the all black or like the yellow alternates. Like, yeah, I'm not down for this. No, or like this nonsense. Nah, pass. I feel like it's a youth thing too, where it's like maybe I'm just like with the boomers now, where it's like a youth thing that like always loves like the Oregon uniforms, where I feel like I'm starting to become an old soul now. Where it's like, oh, what about the classic looks from back in my time, back in the day, or like this, or let's see what else here. Vikings. These jerseys are black, not or no. I mean, this just looks like Mankato State. I mean, screw that noise. Oh yeah, like. Yeah, I mean, it does look legit like Adam Thielen at Mankato State, just trying to make his way in the world, trying to beat Sioux Falls at Blakesley Stadium. Yeah, nah. Feh. Say feh. Say feh on that. Next up is Jacob Sly. What's more likely, perfect March Madness bracket or perfect first round mock? All right, so the March Madness bracket, how many games is that? 64 or 32? Doesn't matter. So let's look that up. Odds of a perfect bracket. Because remember a couple years ago, it was like Warren Buffett was offering $1 billion if someone had a perfect bracket. So odds are 1 in 92 quintillion. So that's absurd. All right, so you have to. How many games? Or 1 in 28 billion, which is fine. Okay, so how many? 32 plus 16 plus All right, so yeah, it's pretty out there. But you do have to factor in with the NFL draft that trades. So you have to perfectly get the trades, and you have to get trade compensation right, and you have to get to the player who the team's traded for. So I actually think that is harder, even though there is only 32 picks as opposed to how many X number of games there. All right, that's going to bother me. All right, so, you have to get the playing games too, right? So that's 2 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. All right, so you have to get 65 games correct. But, I mean, the odds of getting 65 games, 128 trillion or billion, whatever it was, I think having to get all the trades right and get the player, I think that's what makes the draft actually tougher. Tyler Brush, Skull from Kansas, thoughts on post-draft free agent options. Somebody get one decent pick in each of the positions they need. Logan Ryan makes sense, especially after the compensatory pick window closes. Or Dennard or Drake or Patrick, because familiarity with, not only Zimmer, but also Durante Jones, who is the cornerbacks coach who came over from Cincinnati, as well as, Everson. Yeah, he's coming back. Next up is Zach Hazley's. Plot twist, Vikings trade all the draft picks, move up to 5 to take DeAndre Swift a la Saints Ricky Williams style. Man, that would depress me so much. Actually, let's look at the Ricky Williams trade. Yeah, Mike Ditka. Yeah, what a forgettable second act with the Saints. All right, so Ricky Williams, 1999 NFL draft. Let's relive that first. I just love looking at old drafts. Oh, all right, so Tim Couch, my man. Otis, my man. Hey, Cleveland, you're back. And you have your choice of potential Hall of Famer Donovan McNabb at quarterback or Dante Culpepper, get your roll on. Yeah, or Edgerrin James, Hall of Famer, Champ Bailey, Hall of Famer, but you just go Tim Couch. Coming out of the air raid system. Hal Mummy, let's go. So Donovan McNabb out of Syracuse. Who's the last good Syracuse quarterback? That really stupid Duke point guard who tried to play a quarterback for a year. Who is that? Syracuse Duke quarterback. Oh, Greg Paulus. What a jabroni. Look at this guy. Look at this mofo. I think I hate him even more because I think he had a tryout with the Packers. See if I'm not completely making that up. Face. He would have fit right in because he is a biatch. There you go. All right, so 1999 NFL draft. McNabb 2. Achilles Smith 3. Yeah, this is just like a bust draft where Ricky Williams moved up to 5. So Ricky Williams, by the way, wasn't even the first running back off the board. Man, just how amazing. So what? All right, so Carolina traded this. It was Carolina trade first, right? So Carolina traded its first selection 5 as well as 2000 first round pick to Washington to get Sean Gilbert. Man. So you went full on trading for a franchise player with 2 firsts, including a top 5 pick. That is rough. I mean, Sean Gilbert was an okay player, but man. And then Washington flipped this one because they had multiple first rounders now. So they traded the first 5 overall to the Saints for first, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7th round selections, as well as New Orleans 2000 first rounder and 3rd rounder. Wow. Wow. Man, that is rough. All right, so yeah, next we have to look up the 2000 draft because we have to see how this trade played out. All right, so they got the 1st and 3rd, right? So, yeah, that's how Washington ended up with the 2nd and 3rd picks. I remember this because Penn State defenders back-to-back, Courtney Brown, LeVar Arrington, didn't quite work out either one. Chris Sam was a legit mofo for a couple of years. So they got LeVar Arrington as part of the Ricky Williams deal. Also, they had a 3rd rounder there. All right, so Lloyd Harrison, sure, whatever. All right, so now let's look up. Man, I mean, the Saints deserve this, by the way, because your stupid faces. That's from New Orleans via Washington. Okay. Oh, so this is the 1st round pick that Washington got from the Saints, and then they traded it for. Now Washington traded. All right, so Washington traded up for Champ Bailey because they were at 12. Then they traded up. So there you go. Because they originally had 5, and then they got 12, and then they had 7. Okay, just flurry. All right, so Dre Bly. Leave that away. So Washington turned this one into Champ Bailey. Then they flipped the pick around a couple times. Got Nate Stinson. All right, so long story short, Washington got LeVar Arrington and Champ Bailey out of trading down to let the Saints pick Ricky Williams, which is just delightful. It's delightful. It's one of the worst trades in NFL history. And this is coming from the dude who cheers for the Vikings, talking ish about trades. Next up is Pulford Skull. It's a week from today, 2 days draft, a Dolphins call. They say, hey, what up? Trade you Devontae Parker and Josh Rosen for Anthony Harrison, your 3rd round pick today. What say you? Devontae Parker just signed a new contract, but the money would offset because Harris is coming off the books. So Devontae, you get a nice outside X receiver. Did you know he played in college with Teddy? And you get a potential QB of the future. Don't forget, Josh Rosen was a number 10 overall pick 2 years ago for a 3rd round pick. Yes. Yeah, I'd do that one. Also, Anthony Harrison, that secondary with Xavier Howard. Damn. Tyler Brush, plans for the draft, live stream reactions, post player spotlights. Yeah, we're going to do videos on each Vikings draft pick just like we did last year. So I'm just really happy that the Vikings have 12 picks. The pick, I want them to take one. I would love Mason Fine, I don't know, Texas, or Tyler Huntley from Utah, 6th or 7th round. Go. Brett G. I like the CBS mock trading up for Wills. What are your thoughts on instead of Gladney 25 trading down to recoup some picks and selling for someone like Jalen Johnson, Bryce Hall, or AJ Terrell? Yeah, would be fine with that. White Wolf. Gladney, Rieger, Cleveland, then do what they want. So Gladney, Rieger. So you get the 2 TCU kids as well as Ezra Cleveland. Yeah, would be fine there. Check all the boxes, position the need, and you just bring in a bunch of dogs. I love it. I love it. Ethan Griffith, is it fair to be upset if the Vikings don't trade back one of those 2 first-rounders with the Seahawks, Colts, Ravens, or Bears to get multiple second- or third-round picks? Well, the Seahawks and Ravens, they're not trading up. They're teams that are just really rooted in not trading up, unless it's for Lamar Jackson. Colts, maybe. They got 34 and 44. Bears have multiple second-round picks. It'd have to be for a reason, though, if they wanted to come up. Evan Bajelica. What ideal round do you take Alex Taylor? Would he be able to start at a tackle spot with redshirt years? NFL comp is Brian O'Neill. Like maybe early third, or maybe early day 3. Yeah, I don't see him starting right away. Travis, how do you feel about Thielen going into next season, assuming what happens? Do you think injuries will be a concern? Now, I think he has a nice bounce back sort of FU season. And yeah, he is going to be a wide receiver 1. And yes, he is going to get a lot more attention, with Diggs, not in the building. But I just love his physical man-to-man style. I love that he just gets after it. Yes, he does gamble. Yes, he does get burned for the occasional big player too. As long as that labrum checks out. And again, maybe he slides because teams aren't able to do medical rechecks, but I just love it. Like Johnson or Gladney, happy with either one of them. Salio, which of these 2 draft scenarios would... Well, actually, I could swap out Blacklock and Lucas Niang, whereas if Niang is fully recovered, I mean, he could be the seal of the draft here on the offensive line. So I would go TCU. I would. Where Gladney, Rieger, Blacklock, Gladney, Rieger, Niang. I would go there. Where I like Chason. I'm okay with Fulton. I like Gladney better. I like Cushenberry. I would take Niang over Cushenberry just on potential. Yeah. Ethan Griffith. I'm 25. Will I ever see a professional sports franchise in Minnesota ever win the title besides the Lynx? Just get depressed because the answer is probably not. I mean, probably. I mean, the Twins can't be bad forever, right? Stanley Moros, if we trade back at 22 and 25, leave 25 alone, which first-round talent should we select? Because the tiers should go BPA. Well, because of the tiers, if I may go Cleveland. It does seem a little bit overdrafting, but I mean, there is a pretty big drop off. I mean, Cleveland, Josh Jones, be fine letting quarterback ride, but not too long. Definitely fine letting a wide receiver ride. Or if you went BPA, I mean, who would you go with? Epinesa, maybe. Gross Matos. Less excited about that. Maybe Grant Delpit, if you go that route. Johnny Yang Fitness, Chris Sims rated Antoine Field Jr. as number 1 safety and as a top 15 grade in the draft. Do you approve the Vikings draft him 22? You have Gladney Fulton still on board. Maybe. I mean, the health questions are most paramount about Winfield, where he missed multiple seasons. Actually, missed 2 full seasons. Got full because he's technically a redshirt sophomore because of injuries. Is that going to plague him? Because of the style of play that he does bring to the table, could this be a Bob Sanders situation? So I love Antoine Winfield. He's not without his drawbacks. I would love him if he's part of a gang of picks. Like if he is there at 58 or at the top of the second round, go get him. But yeah, Tyler Brush. What'd you do if anything for Easter this year? Made a ham, made some egg bake, played an indoor Easter egg hunt with the kid. It was a lot of fun. Brett Vuzos, Jerome Jabroni, do you ever listen to gospel music? Not like in a regular rotation, but do you ever have a thing where you're listening to, I guess kids don't have this situation now, but when you're in the car, if you're listening to this, you're like scrolling through the radio or Sirius or whatever, and then just comes on the song where it's like, man, this is pretty good. And then it turns out to be like a song about God where I have no problem with it. Yeah, I am a person of faith, but also it's like, you tricked me. Because like, sometimes songs about God or religious songs as well as like love songs cross over. It's like, you complete me, you make me want to live a better life, and I love you and all of your glory. Wait a minute, glory. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Or it's like Jars of Clay is a good band. I mean, Creed used to be like Yeah, cat's out of the bag. Actually, like Creed from back in the day. Hey, Human Clay. I mean, before Scott Stapp went on the full-on "I'm the Messiah" jag. I mean, I know that Creed gets a bad rap. It's not on par with Nickelback in terms of backlash, but Mark Tremonti is a friggin' genius. He really stood out in the bowl game to me. But is he a little bit too much of a plotter? Is it a little bit like his cousin Samaje Perine? Maybe. Yeah. Tyler Brush. What states have you been to? Favorite place to travel? Let's look at a map. U.S. map. All right, so we've been to Minnesota. So we've been to Minnesota, Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Nebraska, both Dakotas, Kansas. Spent a lot of time in Kansas City as a kid. Been through Missouri. Been to Texas. Been to Oklahoma. Been to Louisiana. Somehow skipped Arkansas. Been to Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee. I love Nashville. Nashville's a great town. Memphis is great too. Been through... been to Alabama, been to Georgia, been to both Carolinas, been to D.C., Virginia. Haven't been to West Virginia. I don't think I've been to Ohio. Have not been to Pennsylvania, been to New York, been to, I guess, technically New Jersey then too. Not Delaware, not anywhere in the Northeast. Been through Montana, Washington a bunch of times, Oregon, Idaho. Been to Wyoming, Colorado. Have not been to Utah. I don't think. Been to New Mexico. Have not been to Arizona. I've been to California a bunch of times. Part of the question. Favorite place to go? Have not been to Alaska or Hawaii. I really like California. I really like Nevada. The Pacific Northwest is great, except I don't think I could live in a place where it rains every day, where it gets super depressing. It really does. Like, I could not be a Brit. Like we said, like Tennessee, I love Tennessee, especially as you get towards the Carolina border. Start getting into the mountains. It's just really beautiful, beautiful country. So there you go. Next up is Kasim 14. What receiver? We get a receiver for our first pick. So do we draft offensive tackle or cornerback for our 25th pick? I'd say tackle. Secure one of them. Go. What if you get Jarvis instead of OBJ? Well, the big problem is that Jarvis Landry plays in the slot. Same thing with Adam Thielen, and much more of a horizontal threat. Nah. Dwight Schrute is a monthly Jerome. Find out how you can become a monthly or platinum Jerome. Hit that join box down below. And support the work. Questions. Are you a fan of the YouTube show Hot Ones? I love the premise of it. It's cool to get really awesome celebrities on there too. It's I also love Hot Wings too. I haven't watched a full episode start to finish, but watching the clips, it's really fun. Number 2, if you had to pick one Packers player, can't pick quarterback, to replace one Vikings player at the same position, who would it be and why? Jair Alexander replacing Chris Boyd, I guess, technically, sure. How many? Jair Alexander is a bad mofo. Jair Alexander is legit. I love that kid. How many Jerome members do you have now? I'm psyched your channel keeps growing, showing. Skull, Miles Pearson. So we're at 23,000 subs or something like that. And it's a big part of it is you guys that we love crank out. That's absolutely petty. And it's absolutely something that's sort of whatever. But if there's ever a really really shitty comment in the comment section where, full disclosure, I don't always read the comments, mainly because sometimes you get knuckleheads like this. But sometimes you'll see one where it's just like, ha ha ha. So this is a video we talked about Kirk Cousins running because he said he was going to run more. And we're just like, okay. Then this dude was like, O.K. We get it. You don't like Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. I want him to do well. You constantly focus on what you see as negatives, not positives. But we take what he gives us. He gives us a lot of hilarious things. I would love to run and play in front of empty stadiums. By the way, have you ever played football in your life? I have. 2002 Minnesota State champion, baby. Woo! Let's go. So just shut the F up. And then I never use this reply because I think it's just really effed out and not even that funny. But okay, boomer. Because, look at this dude. He looks like your your English professor that got fired for having sex with a student. Yeah. So yeah, Billy Quick, heir to the Nestle Quick fortune. Cool. Yeah, that's whatever. But I mean, we like this community that we sort of gotten together because I mean people don't take things too seriously and they just really have fun with life. That's what it should be. That's what sports ball should be. All right, John Ochigada Gordon. So if we could only draft one or the other, who would it be? Tyler Johnson or Antoine Winfield Jr.? I would say Antoine Winfield Jr. just because wide receiver is so deep. I mean, TJ for me is, we had him at number 6 on our big board, but I would pick Winfield Jr. because he can play safety, he can play corner, he can play slot, do all those things, and wide receiver is just so deep. So it really is just a numbers game. So last one. If you're offered free tickets for a box, would you go? All right, so are we talking about like suite at a game, or are we talking about like a man in the box? Well, it's in the box. I mean, yeah, I'd probably go. Although, so was it 2017, the Bengals game? My buddy Uncle Nick, he won suite tickets, and he's like, "You want to go?" And I'm like, "No, I'd rather watch the game in the studio and then just make the post game show for you jabronis." For the Jeromes. That's how deep the dedication runs. All right, let's finish out the week with a nice little 7-round Vikings mock draft, and then we'll get the hell out of here. All right, the sun is out. I'm excited. All right, so see what the hell happened here. So Burrow, Chase Young, blah, 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 blah. Top 4 tackles off the board. Kinlaw made it to 20. There you go. Judy is off the board. I mean, Judy is the third one. Nessa, Winfield is up there. Jalen Johnson, Josh Jones is there. Isaiah Wilson is there. All right. So was one of our main rules. Don't let one of the big 6 tackles get out of reach. Cleveland probably won't be there at 58 pretty easily. I mean, do we just go get our guys? Should we just mirror this and make it just like our perfect top 6 draft? We're gonna, because screw you guys. Screw everyone. Actually, no. Yeah, Ezra coming out, your left tackle, the future. Super athletic, perfect for the zone scheme. Brian O'Neill clone. Jalen Johnson, like we said, aggro, getting after it. I mean, Jalen Johnson, Jeff Gladney, El Jefe are pretty close for me. See what else is here. So wide receiver wise, we missed out on Higgins or Rieger. All right, so now got the big board. It's Jeremy Chin. I wouldn't like Chin this high. Mainly because I think he's a massive project. I mean, obviously he's a physical freak. Kyle Duggar, the small school guy, All right, so you're looking at wide receiver. You could put that off. Matabuke is there. Roquan Davis is there. Would make a lot of sense. Devon Hamilton is there. Edgewise, I like Weaver. I love Aquara. If you're just... This is tempting, and this is really interesting. So what is a bigger need? Well, Everson is going to be back. I think Afadi's ready to step up. So does that put Edge below? Yes. So I'm going to go Matabuke. Let's go. Let's get it done. All right, now I'm going to circle back. I'm not going to let my guy Amik go. I can't let go. But I want to start dipping into the wide receivers. Could go Van Jefferson. Lynn Bowden, I think people are sleeping on. All right. So cornerback. Let's look at the big board. All right, so Matt Pert, certainly legit. Darnell Taylor. Davis Gaither is pretty legit too, except linebacker's not a major pressing position of need. Interior offensive line. All right, so Jonah's gone. It sucks. Nathaniel Moody's there. Logan Stenberg. Be a dish we like in terms of versatility. Yeah, so man, do we let wide receiver ride until day 3? I mean, if that's the position to do it, that one will be it. So I'm going to get Robertson, as well as we'll have a choice of interior offensive lineman. Check that box too. All right, Stenberg or Biadish, Could flip a coin here. I'm going to go Beadish just because I like the versatility. You can play some center. I know Stenberg's no slouch either. But schematically, for what they want to do, I think Beadish and Cleveland, two nice additions. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Beadish ends up starting at left guard for the Vikings day one. And then Cleveland starting left tackle. Then all of a sudden, Riley Reef, bye-bye. $8.8 million in cap space freed up. Let's go. All right, now we have to get going on wide receiver. Oh, so I like that Lynn Bowden is there. It would be rude if we passed on Tyler Johnson, right? So TJ, you're in. Hopefully James Prochet makes it to the 5th one time. As well as, we want to check out edge. So Tutska Gibson is there. Where are we at with the big board numbers wise? All right, so we're at 130s. So does Gibson make it there? I do like DeVernay. Prochet won't make it. So James Prochet, come on in. So your wide receiver room is going to be, I think Tyler Johnson may work his way into the starting lineup right away. So Tyler Johnson, Thielen, Prochet, legit underneath threat, as well as you look at BC Johnson, Tajay Sharp. It's not a bad wide receiver room, even though you wait until the top of day 3 to go get it. Can he do it? Oh, made it. All right, so I was hoping that Travis Gibson would make it. Also, John Hightower here is pretty damn legit. Like, if you want to triple down on wide receiver, like top-end speed, return game, no, you need Gibson first. All right, so Hightower makes it. It's super tempting, but you already double banged wide receiver. So I already like that. You already got 2 wide receivers, got 2 O-linemen, got 2 cornerbacks. You want to check those boxes first and foremost. Next up. What to do? Start going running back. I like Clay's interesting. This stage of the draft, already got that. Davindy Jr., Kamal Martin. All right. Safety wise, Shaheem Carter could play some corner as well. All right. Or do you go AGG? Screw it. It's our draft. Or do we want to? So, tripling up on wide receivers. You got Prochet, you got TJ, you got Hightower as a return man. I'm digging it. I'm in. All right, so now, I mean, Rick always does get his linebacker. So where did they have Coughlin listed as a linebacker or an edge guy? All right, so Carr Coughlin does make sense here, where he does have some edge stank, but I think he does project to being a stand-up linebacker in the NFL. So be a backup, play some special teams. Makes a ton of sense there. Now, I want to pick through. All right, so Dorn is there. Dorn. As well as, do we go quarterback or running back? Or do we get a third corner? I mean, we could. I mean, John Reed, Lavert Hill, AJ Green just in there chilling. I mean, they'll grab a UDFA quarterback. So let's just lock things up. Killins could go with. Of course, the disrespect. I mean, they're Levante Bellamy listed. Sometimes they list him as a wide receiver, which is just random. I mean, he's a running back. I don't know why they list him as a wide receiver. Like, maybe some teams project him out there. Probably not, though, right? All right, so it went down. I got our guys. Jalen Johnson, 22. Ezra Cleveland, 25. Starting cornerback and left tackle of the future. Second round is just too much value for Matabuke there. I think he comes in on the D-line. Just really brings a nice little penetration. Just brings it. Love him from Texas A&M. Amik Robertson, a guy that we just keep doubling back on. So Jalen Johnson, the outside. Amik Robertson working the slot. Feistiness, I love it. Tyler Beadish comes in as a new utility interior offensive lineman. Could he be a starter someday? Sure. Could certainly believe that. So offensive line, Ezra Cleveland coming in, as well as you got Drew Samia. Don't forget about Oli Udo. Plus, you got Tyler Beadish right away. That's a nice little core to fill up a couple of those spots for the future. Tyler Johnson, James Prochet, John Hightower, the 3 wise men in the top of day 3. Man, I like that wide receiver core. Travis Gibson, just a young, big-time project for Andre Patterson coming in from Tulsa. Carter Coughlin could have some edge stank. We project him more as a linebacker. Miles Dorn, safety from UNC, as well as Levante Bellamy, again, listed as a wide receiver. He's going to be a running back. He's probably one of the best suited zone running backs in this draft. So getting him in there maybe becomes something. I like the dark throw. And that's it. That is the mock draft. That is the live stream for the day as well as the week. Jeromes, thank you very much for coming along, supporting the work, catching it live, especially on demand as well. If you want to support us, hit that join box, become monthly or platinum Jerome, and just keep on keeping on. Heart you guys. Skull, production value.